Traffic stops are one of the most common interactions between police and civilians, and they play a vital role in maintaining road safety. Under the Fourth Amendment, officers are authorized to make stops if they observe behavior that suggests a potential crime or danger, such as erratic driving. This is particularly supported by the Terry v. Ohio precedent, which allows brief investigative stops when officers have reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. In this case, the officer's actions were appropriate given the observed erratic driving. However, this situation quickly escalated due to the woman's failure to provide identification, a legal requirement under Hybel v. 6th Judicial District Court. It's important to note that refusing to identify yourself during a lawful stop can complicate matters, especially when paired with evasive behavior. And stick around for ratings of each individual at the end.
On February 6, 2023, officers conducted a traffic stop on a woman due to her erratic driving. When officers approached the woman, she failed to provide her license and kept giving officers false statements regarding her name and address, leading officers to believe that she was hiding something.
You know, lying about your name can get you charged for criminal impersonation, which is a felony.
This portion highlights a critical legal point, providing false information to law enforcement. Under statutes in most states, knowingly giving a false name to officers can result in charges for obstruction or criminal impersonation, the latter often carrying felony consequences. The Supreme Court has consistently upheld the need for truthful communication during traffic stops, as outlined in cases like Hybel. The officer's patience in handling this misrepresentation is commendable, as it minimizes the risk of escalation. However, from a procedural standpoint, extending time to verify identity must remain within the scope of the stop. The Rodriguez v. United States decision limits the length of a traffic stop to the time reasonably necessary to address its purpose. This creates a delicate balance between thorough investigation and constitutional rights.
I think she's lying about her name. I think she's giving her sister's name. So no booking photo for sister. Sister hasn't had a contact, which all it was a collision in 2018.
Here, the officers showcase solid investigative techniques by cross-referencing available records and utilizing booking photos to identify the suspect. This demonstrates the practical importance of police databases in verifying suspect information. However, prolonged questioning at the scene could raise concerns about constitutional rights, as outlined in Illinois v. Cabal, which cautions against extending stops unnecessarily. While the officer's intent was valid, ensuring procedural adherence is critical to protecting both the suspect's rights and the integrity of the investigation. This scene also highlights the broader issue of resource reliance, as officers often depend heavily on technology and records, which must be accurate and timely.
Alicia, open the door and come out. I understand you're scared. You've had a bad experience with police in the past, okay?
The legal authority for officers to request that drivers exit their vehicles during traffic stops is well established. The case Pennsylvania v. Mims held that requiring a driver to step out is a minimal intrusion on personal liberty and is outweighed by officer safety concerns. However, this moment raises an important ethical consideration: how officers address civilian fears of law enforcement. The woman's hesitation underscores a larger societal issue of trust between police and the communities they serve. The officer's attempt to address her concerns was appropriate, but could have been enhanced with clearer reassurances or additional de-escalation techniques.
Stop reaching around. Stop reaching around. Stop.
No.
Stop reaching. What are you reaching for? Stop.
No.
Stop.
I don't want to get
Stop
sick.
reaching
I don't wanna
around.
get sick. I don't want to get sick.
Stop reaching. Okay, put your hands behind your back.
Okay.
The use of force in this instance is worth analyzing under the framework of Graham v. Connor, which requires evaluating whether the force applied was objectively reasonable based on the situation. The woman's movements, including reaching around the car, created a potential safety threat, justifying the officer's cautious approach. It's worth noting that the officer's verbal commands focused on maintaining control without escalating aggression, a key aspect of modern policing standards. However, this also raises questions about the challenges of dealing with individuals in distress, particularly those experiencing fear or addiction. Striking a balance between enforcement and empathy is a nuanced but essential skill for law enforcement.
So you know you're under arrest for the warrant, okay? I'm not going to book you on your new charges, but you are going to receive a citation for them, okay? Your new charges are going to be making false and misleading statements, not criminal impersonation. Listen. You're not, so it's not criminal impersonation, which would be a felony, okay? False misleading statements, and resisting arrest, and then I believe your license is suspended as well.
Why?
I'll look.
The conclusion of this interaction reflects a commendable balance of firmness and understanding from the officers. By addressing the suspect's fear of withdrawal, they demonstrated awareness of the human element behind her resistance. However, the legal consequences, charges for false statements, resisting arrest, and driving with a suspended license underscore the importance of accountability. This situation serves as a reminder that addiction often intertwines with legal troubles, making rehabilitation a critical focus for reducing recidivism. Statutes like those in the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act of 2016 emphasize the need for systemic solutions to issues like these. This case serves as a detailed look into the complexities of law enforcement interactions and individual accountability. Now, let's break down the ratings for everyone involved, including a detailed analysis of how they earned their scores. Officers' scores. Professionalism, 85%. Scoring breakdown. Proper investigative techniques, 2020. Consistent adherence to legal procedures, 2020. Verbal demeanor, 15/20 slightly lacked compassion in early interactions, but overall remained calm. Physical actions, 15/20 actions aligned with training, though tone could have been softened for rapport building. Clarity in instructions, 15/20 clear instructions with minimal ambiguity. Total, 85/100. Respect for law, 90%. Scoring breakdown. Upholding legal standards during the stop, 30/30. Proper articulation of charges, 30/30. Avoiding excessive force, 30/30. Total, 90/100. Communication, 80%. Scoring breakdown. Verbal explanations of charges and actions, 25/30 clear, though lacked some empathy when addressing suspects' fear. Handling suspects' fear of police, 20/30 could have incorporated more de-escalation dialogue. Coordination between officers, 35/40 well-coordinated use of records and teamwork. Total, 80/100. Empathy, 75%. Scoring breakdown. Acknowledgement of suspect's addiction issues, 2025 officer made genuine effort to discuss her fear and addiction. Balancing enforcement with understanding, 30/35. Reassurance attempts, 25/40 could have been stronger. Total, 75/100. De-escalation efforts, 85%. Scoring breakdown. Patience during suspect's hesitation to exit vehicle, 45/50. Avoidance of physical force when possible, 40/50. Total, 85/100. Alicia's scores. Professionalism, 30%. Scoring breakdown. Providing truthful information, 0/25 lying about identity severely undermined professionalism. Cooperation during interaction, 10/25 partial cooperation near the end helped mitigate her score. Overall behavior, 20/50 erratic and non-compliant behavior. Total, 30/100. Respect for law, 10%. Scoring breakdown. Adherence to legal obligations, 0/40 failing to provide ID and lying about her identity were clear violations. Understanding of consequences, 10/60 acknowledged her actions only after being confronted. Total, 10/100. Communication, 40%. Scoring breakdown. Clarity in communication, 20/40 provided partial truthful information. Engagement with officers, 20/60 reluctant and evasive communication dominated her interaction. Total, 40/100. Empathy, 25%. Scoring breakdown. Acknowledgement of her own wrongdoing, 10/40 took partial responsibility for her actions. Display of understanding toward law enforcement's perspective, 15/60 briefly expressed regret at the end. Total, 25/100. De-escalation efforts, 10%. Scoring breakdown. Avoidance of escalation, 10/50 minimal effort to comply, which prolonged the encounter unnecessarily. Total, 10/100. Rating calculations. Officers. Total score. 85. Plus. 90. Plus. 80. Plus. 75. Plus. 85. /5 equals 83%. 85 plus 90 plus 80 plus 75 plus 85/5 equals 83%. Alicia. Total score. 30. Plus. 10. Plus. 40. Plus. 25. Plus. 10/5 equals 23%. 30 plus 10 plus 40 plus 25 plus 10 slash 5 equals 23%.